Hello, Gloria Honeyford here. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. What sort of film? British what? Oh, sorry, just a second.
Well, say we start in an operating theatre. And there's this guy lying there, anaesthetized, blowing up that rugby ball bladder thing they have. And maybe there's a nurse with a tea towel all laid out with lots of evil-looking scalpels and things. And we see bags of blood, and it's all very grim and your life in their hands. And this surgeon comes in, you know, with the mob cap and the green nightie on backwards and the skin-tight marigolds, the works. And he's got this big book under his arm, and it says something like, The Reader's Digest Guide to Brain Surgery, Part 1, The Basics. And he looks at this patient, we have a big close-up of this poor chap at death's door, and the surgeon immediately refers to the book. And a voiceover says, would you be happy if this man was operating on your brain? Well, it's the same with the brains of your department. Something like that.
Yes, it's a bit grisly.
Yes, well, we do have to do something to get their attention. I mean, you know what these training films can be like. Or promotional films, whatever.
Yes, but I mean, it's a bit jokey, isn't it? A bit black. We do have to be careful of our image. But it is a neat analogy, I'll grant you that.
Well, that's it, you see. You train people to design and program computer systems and then to run them.
Look, the problem is simply one of identifying the consequences of not being properly trained to design and program computer systems. And the overwhelming one is cost. I think we should make that point early on. If your system developer is fully trained, his system will be enormously cheaper to maintain, and there won't be those hugely expensive corrections needed once it's been set up. I'm sure we suffer from the fact that people think that because computers make life easy, they must be easy to learn to use, which they're certainly not.
But you are definitely in favour of a movie.
Oh, yes, I think it's much the best way. We're specifically geared to British Telecom's needs. Because we're a cost recovery arm and not profit-making, we're cheaper than anybody else. We're not trying to flog hardware or software. It's a good message, and I think a film's the way to get it across, especially if we can get someone well-known.
Yeah. Why did you want us to meet in here?
Well, I thought we could start by showing how we're equipped for personal tuition, explain about our emphasis on practical work, and so on.
Do we have any questions then?
There are lots of commands available to you on the TSO.
Parallel transmission is used to transmit data inside the computer.
Absolutely typical of what you would use a C-list for.
Merge the structures together as shown on the slide. So we have an iteration from keypad. So really,
We could just show someone around, on film, I mean. Display all our facilities. Our own IBM 4361, devoted to training facilities, for instance. But I do want to go for the straight approach.
Yes, all right, yes, I agree with that. So Covent Garden sort of down this way?
Right to left, by the journey. Oh, wait, here, 50 years. Come up. 50. I want to introduce you to Peter Tilbury, who's going to be writing the film.
How do you do?
David.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Did you get to talk to Gloria Honeyford?
Yes, I did.
What did she say?
She's absolutely charming, David, but she does want to learn a lot more about us before she'll agree to do it. So I'm afraid it's by no means definite yet.
But we're definitely going to make her own film.
Yes, it's a clear medium with impact.
A brochure would be cheaper.
It would cost less money, David. It wouldn't be cheaper. The only impact a brochure makes is with the inside of the waste paper basket.
Jonathan, why are we meeting on the roof?
Well, I wanted to show it to Peter. I thought we could show off that we're in the heart of the West End, right on top of Shaftesbury Avenue. Students enjoy coming on courses here, so why don't we make a point of it? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a bit odd.
Yes, we want to make a film about computing training. You don't want to put too much emphasis on the leisure aspect. I mean, this might look a bit Harold Lloyd.
Well, I think we should use an analogy. I read your outline, and I think we should use the House of Wax.
Well, what's that? Well, I thought we could see this apartment building crashing down. Then we cut to lots of tabloid newspapers with headlines like crumbling walls kill pensioners, children fall from unsafe balconies, untrained architect shock horror, and then a voiceover says, would you be happy?
I don't want to use analogies. I just want to go for it straight. Untrained computer personnel cost money, full stop. And hopefully some sort of interview with Gloria Hunniford.
Would you like to come on in? I must say, it was very kind of you to bring flowers. I love freesia. Actually, Mr. Porter, I hope you don't think I'm being just a little bit rude, but I would like to know exactly how I'm going to be involved in the film.
Well, yes, of course.
As I understand it, first and most important, lack of training results in poor systems, which cost a lot of money and cause irritation, inconvenience, and waste.
Right, right.
Good.
Let me press you about this business of cost, because really at the end of it all, that's the nitty-gritty, isn't it?
Indeed.
So how much can you save?
Well, with some large systems already in existence, 70% of the cost goes in just keeping a supposedly automated system going. And really, nearly all of that could be saved. There shouldn't be much of a maintenance cost at all.
What do you mean, just by getting the system right in the first place?
Exactly. Correcting even a simple design fault at a later stage is extremely expensive.
So do you think that really the cost of the training could be absorbed totally by the savings?
Oh, many, many times over. There's no relation between the sums involved.
I do think an image might be a good idea, Jonathan.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, suppose we shot a motorway that's just been built, not the cars streaming along it, and then cut to a massive tailback because of roadworks. And somebody says,
Is your computing programming and design built to last, or does it block your traffic and cost a fortune?
No, David, we really shouldn't be gimmicky. We want to convey hard information, not win the palm d'or of Cannes. Let's just do it straight.
OK, I dare say you're right.
The prime objective is to establish why we're the best choice.
Yes. Now, all your instructors have direct experience of computing in BT.
Yeah.
And they have control over what's taught.
That's right, yes.
Excellent.
And we're the third largest computer training school in the UK.
But doesn't that suggest that they really ought to go to the biggest in the country?
Well, no, we're the only one specifically geared to British Telecom. We offer follow-up and consultancy, and we adjust our training in the light of experience. Also, there's a much reduced security risk.
Security?
Well, yes. Students on external courses could be discussing BT matters with non-BT personnel.
Gosh, I didn't think we were into George Smiley territory here.
Well, it is a factor.
And we have our own microcomputers and terminal networks installed in classrooms.
Yes, and access for training purposes to BT's own IBM and ICL mainframe computers, the sort actually used in the field.
I've had this idea for the film. This aircraft pilot, he's got the goggles on, he's got L plates on the front and on the back, and he gets into the plane and takes off, and it crashes. Somebody says,
Would you be happy if this man was piloting your company?
Well, maybe. I must say I was rather hoping to keep it fairly straight.
well, it was just an idea.
Yes.
Well, I can see that you want to convey a lot of detail in the film, but really, what's the main point of it all?
Well, we suffer from what you might call a sort of inbuilt low profile. Normally, in all walks of professional life, the need for high standards of training and discipline is taken for granted. But with us, it's not so clearly evident. Suppose, by some extraordinary circumstance, that a chap who had a childhood interest in Meccano and no further training suddenly upped and designed a suspension bridge. Well, the danger would be obvious. If you're halfway across a suspension bridge in the family Volvo with the wife and kids, and suddenly, without warning, you're hurtling towards the briny deep, you're not left in any doubt about the advisability of adequately training bridge designers.
How elegantly you express it, Mr. Porter.
Thank you. But with computer systems, the trouble is that no one dies. I mean, I'm very glad that no one dies, but it's not so obviously apparent that something might be wrong.
So really, it's very important to cover all the angles. I mean, to do the spade work, if you like.
Yes, exactly as I'm sure you do your homework before a show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, up front, organising radio phone-ins and interviews, I mean, it probably looks easy, but in the background, there's an awful lot of hard slog. By the way, I don't suppose there's any chance of you designing a system that's going to take over phone-ins, interviewing people and all of that.
Not remotely.
Mind you, I'm not against the march of technology. I mean, on a Sunday, when I run out of cash, that little cash till is terrific. I feel positively warm towards that. And it doesn't turn around and say, well, who have you got on the programme tomorrow? But if I look back on all you've been telling me, I mean, you've been doing it for 20 years, you've got something like 90 training schemes in process, but not being technically minded, what is this modularised training?
Well, if, as is often the case, it's inconvenient to spare someone for a long period, we break the training up into a week or less at a time. And that way we can make sure that all the training given is really relevant.
Ah, I see.
Well, it's all very well showing them our High Holborn premises, but they must know that we can operate on site as well.
And at our centre in Cardiff, Brunel House.
Brunel? Okay, now Brunel, he was a designer, an operator in his field, right? Supposing we showed some pictures of his bridges or whatever, okay, and then we had a voiceover saying,
No, Peter.
oh, I'm sorry, it was just an idea.
Well, I think that's everything, isn't it? Let's go away and have a think about it, shall we?
Okay.
Good morning.
That right, you're making a film about this place, Mr. Porter?
Yes, that's right, Len.
Only I have an idea for it.
Oh, does it involve a massive traffic jam by any chance?
No.
Buildings collapsing on defence lifts,
No.
pensioners? How about aeroplanes crashing on 19th century engineers?
No, nothing like that.
A blood-soaked patient with advanced brain damage, perhaps?
No.
So what do you want to put in the film, Len?
Computers!
Well, I must say, I really enjoyed our chat, and at the end of it all sounds a great idea to me, so I'd be very happy to be in your movie.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Would you mind, though, if I made just a tiny little suggestion?
Of course not.
You see, when you talk to me in analogies, I mean, I understand all of that. And I had this friend last week who went to the hairdresser, had this awful hairdo. And so I thought it'd be a good idea if we had a sequence of photographs showing these awful hairdos, this terrible hairdresser in the background, and this voice would say, would you let this man style your business? You know, that kind of thing.
What a good idea.
British Telecom Computing Training, High Holborn, London, and Brunel House, Cardiff. We'll see to it that this sort of thing doesn't happen to your business systems. If you want any more information, please contact us and we'll give it to you. Straight.
Oh, that's excellent.
copied it. So we're going to copy from there to there. Choose text frame and put before and enter.